Mark Relland stepped out of the cargo elevator, his boots tapping softly against the metallic floor of Horizon Gate Spaceport. The place was always busy at this hour, moving crowds, ships landing and lifting, voices mixing into a constant hum. He came here almost every week for engineering checks, but today felt different. There was a strange tension in the air, something he couldn't name. Something he felt in his chest before he understood it. He adjusted the small toolkit on his belt and walked toward Dockline C, where the supply ship from Terra Nova was supposed to arrive. Workers hurried around him, carrying containers, reading scanners, chatting with each other. People passed him without noticing anything unusual. The world was normal for them, but not for Mark. His eyes caught something unusual near the edge of the walkway. A tall alien escort, long limbs, pale green skin, wearing a dark travel robe, walked quickly with a little alien girl holding his arm. She looked maybe 8 or 9 years old, small compared to the escort. Her skin was soft blue, her hair silver white like moonlight. She had delicate features that made her look gentle and peaceful, exactly like the child of the Lumeri species. Known for calm minds and emotional sensitivity, but her eyes were full of fear. Mark slowed his steps. Something about her expression pulled him in. She kept turning her head slightly, as if searching for someone to help her. Her small hand gripped the escort's sleeve tightly, not in trust, but in fear. She stumbled once, and instead of comforting her, the escort only pulled her forward faster. Mark's instincts sharpened. He had seen Lumeri families before. They always treated their children with great care. He had never seen one drag a child like this. But the spaceport was full of travelers. Many species acted in ways humans didn't always understand. Maybe this was normal? Maybe he was imagining things. Then something happened that removed all doubt. As they passed by him, the girl dropped a tiny glowing bead from her hand. It hit the floor with a soft tap and rolled toward Mark's boot. She looked at it for half a second, then looked at him, her eyes silently pleading before she quickly looked forward again. Mark bent down, pretending he was fixing something on his boot, and picked up the bead. When he closed his hand around it, the bead blinked in a slow pattern. 1 blink, pause. 2 blinks, pause. 3 blinks. He froze. This was a universal distress signal, taught in human safety training. A silent way to say, "Help me. I am in danger." The escort didn't notice him picking it up. He continued walking with the girl, his pace even faster now. Mark straightened up, his heart beating harder. He looked at the bead again. There was no mistake. The girl was asking for help. Everyone around them treated the little situation as normal, walking past without a single look. Nobody else recognized the bead or the signal, but Mark did. He put the bead in his pocket and followed them, staying careful. He walked with a steady pace, pretending nothing was unusual. The escort led the girl toward the maintenance corridor, a place that travelers were not supposed to enter. The corridor had a sign on the wall. Authorized staff only. The escort didn't stop. He typed something on the panel. The door slid open. Strange. Very strange. Mark moved closer, pretending he was heading for another section, but actually watching everything. The escort glanced around once. Mark turned away quickly, pretending to check his tablet. The escort seemed satisfied. He pulled the girl inside, and the door closed behind them. Mark took a slow breath, making himself calm. He knew he had to act fast, but carefully. If the escort was dangerous, he couldn't let him escape. He tapped his tablet, acting like he was checking engineering notes, actually connecting to the station's internal access points. As a senior engineer, he had limited clearance to maintenance systems. He brought up the door logs. He saw the code the escort used, and the ID attached to the code. Mark's eyes narrowed. The ID was fake. It's very fake. The station system marked it as unverified, possibly altered. This was not a guardian, not a family member, not a legal escort. Someone was trying to take the little Lumeri girl somewhere hidden. Mark closed the logs, put away his tablet, and took a deep breath. He wasn't trained for security work, but he couldn't ignore this. The girl had asked for help in the only way she could. She trusted a stranger him because no one else noticed. He tapped on his wrist communicator quietly, switching to the emergency channel, but he didn't send a full alert yet. If he sent it too soon, the kidnapper might sense it and escape before security arrived. Timing mattered. He approached the maintenance door. Before opening it, he listened. The sound inside was faint, only the distant hum of machines. He triggered the door with his engineering override code. The door slid open softly. Inside, the corridor lights were dim. Pipes lined both sides, steam rose from vents, and the air smelled of metal and coolant. It was a silent place, the kind where someone could do something wrong and no one would notice. Mark stepped inside and let the door close behind him. He followed slowly, moving quietly. The corridor bent left, then right. He saw footprints, 2 large ones and tiny ones beside them. He kept following. At one point, he heard voices. He recognized the soft, trembling voice of the girl. I want to go back," she said gently, afraid to speak louder. "You will go where I take you," the escort said with an emotionless tone. Mark felt a cold anger inside him, not the kind that made him reckless, but the kind that made him determined. He picked up his communicator and sent a silent signal to security with his location. He marked it as possible kidnapping moving target. Then he kept walking. The corridor opened into a small transfer room. At the far end was a private docking hatch connected to a small shuttle that was not registered to the station. The kidnapping plan was clear now. The escort intended to take her away quietly, without going through any official checkpoint. The girl saw Mark first. Her silver blue eyes widened. She didn't say anything, but she straightened a little, hope shining inside her. The escort noticed her change. He turned, following her gaze, and saw Mark standing near the entrance with his toolkit and steady posture. "Who are you?" the escort asked sharply. Mark forced a calm expression. "Station maintenance," he said. "This area is restricted. You can't be here with passengers." "This child is under my care," the escort replied quickly. "We have permission." "I checked your ID," Mark said, taking a step forward. "It's fake." The escort stiffened. The girl moved slightly, stepping closer to Mark, even if she was still a few steps away. Mark tilted his head. "Why are you taking her through maintenance tunnels? Why not through the regular gates?" The escort didn't answer. He tightened his grip on the girl's wrist. The girl winced. Mark's voice became firm. "Let her go." The escort dragged the girl backward toward the shuttle. His tone grew harsh. "I do not need to answer a human engineer. Step aside." Mark tapped his communicator again and sent the location update. Security alarms began to activate in the distance. Lights in the corridor flashed red. The escort panicked for the first time. He pulled the girl harder and tried to reach the shuttle door, but the girl resisted, her feet sliding on the floor. She looked terrified, yet she didn't give up. Mark rushed forward. The escort jerked the girl to the side, trying to use her as a shield, but Mark moved carefully, staying calm. "I don't want to fight you," he said. "Let her go. Security is coming." The escort hissed something under his breath, then shoved the girl aside to try and escape faster. Mark caught her before she fell. She grabbed his arm immediately, holding on to him with all her strength. For a moment, everything felt still. The alarms were louder now, echoing through the tunnels. Footsteps from security forces were growing closer. The escort realized he had no time left. He abandoned the plan to grab the girl again. He turned and sprinted down a different dark tunnel. Security forces rushed in seconds later. But the kidnapper was already gone. Mark lifted the little girl gently. Her small hands clung to his shirt tightly, trembling. She didn't speak, but her emotions were clear: fear, relief, and trust. "It's okay," Mark said softly. "You're safe with me." Her voice came out tiny. "Thank you, human." Mark carried her out of the maintenance tunnel toward the safe room security had prepared. Soldiers ran past him in pursuit of the kidnapper, but Mark didn't look back. His only focus was the girl. He sat with her inside the protected room, waiting for medical staff and her family's embassy to be informed. The girl stayed close to him, refusing to let go of his sleeve even when a medic checked her for injuries. Mark looked down at her. She looked back at him with trusting eyes. She wasn't crying. She was brave in a quiet way. He didn't know her name yet. He didn't know why she had been targeted, or who the fake escort was, or where he went. All he knew was one thing. He was the only one who noticed something was wrong. And he wasn't going to leave her alone now, not until she was truly safe. This was only the beginning. Mark sat beside the little alien girl in the safe room, trying to keep his presence calm and comforting. The room was small but warm, filled with soft lights and simple furniture. A medical officer checked the girl's vitals, while Mark kept his hand near hers so she wouldn't feel alone. She watched every person entering the room carefully, still shaken by what had happened. When the medic finished, the girl finally spoke in a gentle, slightly trembling voice. "My name is Lyra," she said softly. "Thank you for helping me." Mark gave her a reassuring smile. "I'm glad you're safe now, Lyra. That's what matters." She lowered her eyes. "I was so scared. I didn't know if anyone would see the bead." "I saw it," Mark said, "and I'm not going anywhere." Lyra looked up at him again, feeling his steady presence. She didn't speak for a moment, then slowly moved a little closer to him. She seemed to feel safer near him than anywhere else. A tall security officer entered the room. He saluted Mark with respect. "Engineer Rellan, thank you for your alert and quick action. We have men searching for the kidnapper in the lower tunnels." Mark nodded, but didn't feel relieved. "What about the shuttle he tried to use?" "We have it locked down," the officer said. It had a scrambled signature, a sign of illegal use. "We're checking everything." Lyra clutched Mark's sleeve gently, as if afraid the conversation meant she would be taken away. Mark placed his hand over hers, and she relaxed a little. The officer noticed and softened his tone. "Don't worry, little one. You are safe." Lyra nodded but stayed close to Mark after the officer left. Another staff member came in, someone from the diplomatic relations team. She introduced herself as Mira, the station liaison. With a calm voice and friendly eyes, "We have contacted the Lumeri embassy," she told Mark. "Her parents are already on their way through hyperspace. They will arrive in about an hour." Lyra's eyes widened with relief. "My parents. They are coming." "Yes," Mira said warmly. "They were very worried." Lyra turned to Mark with a smile so small it was almost hidden, but it was her first real smile since he had seen her. Mark smiled back, feeling proud that she could finally feel hopeful. While waiting, Lyra explained little by little what had happened. She had been on the station with her parents for a diplomatic meeting. Crowds had been thick, and someone had separated her from her parents. The fake escort had appeared and told her he had been sent to bring her somewhere safe. She had believed him at first, but soon realized his voice felt wrong. Lumeri children could sense emotions, and she felt nothing from him, no honesty, no care, no warmth. He felt empty, Lyra said quietly, like a shadow pretending to be real. Mark listened carefully. Her words weren't meant to frighten. She was simply explaining her world. He asked gently, "Is that why you dropped the bead?" Lyra nodded. "My mother taught me long ago. If I am afraid but cannot speak, I must drop a signal bead where someone with courage may see." Mark felt something warm inside him. He didn't feel like a hero. He had only followed his instincts. But knowing Lyra believed in him, it meant something more than any medal ever could. As they talked, time passed. Mark made sure she had water and something to eat. She stayed beside him, sometimes leaning slightly against his arm when she felt nervous. He didn't mind. Her bravery deserved all the comfort he could offer. Suddenly, the intercom buzzed. "All units," a voice announced. "Suspect has been detected near Cargo Bay 9, attempting escape through auxiliary ship." Mark instinctively stood. Lyra grabbed his arm quickly, her eyes wide with fear. She didn't want him to leave. Mira looked at both of them. "Security will handle it. You two stay here." Mark sat back down, but he felt uneasy. The kidnapper was trying again, and he seemed determined. Lyra sensed Mark's tension and pressed closer to him. Then something unexpected happened. The lights in the safe room flickered. A soft alarm beeped on the wall panel. Mira frowned. That is not supposed to happen. The door locked automatically for protection. But something about the flickering lights made Mark tense. Lyra felt his concern, and held his hand tightly. Mark stood and checked the panel. "Someone's overriding the room's systems," he said. "That means the kidnapper has access to station controls." Mira's face paled. She tapped her communicator, but the signal cut out. Lyra whispered, "He is trying to find me again." Mark placed himself between Lyra and the door. He wasn't going to let anything happen to her. Not after everything she had already gone through. The lights flickered again, then settled. A robotic voice announced through the speakers, "Security breach in Section E. All personnel remain on standby." Mira breathed out slowly. "It looks like security stopped him from getting into this area." Lyra finally relaxed. But she stayed close to Mark until the situation stabilized. After 10 long minutes, the lights returned to normal and Myra's communicator reconnected. She received a call, listened, and then smiled. "They caught him," she said. "The kidnapper is in custody." Lyra exhaled in relief, closing her eyes for a moment. Mark felt his muscles relax for the first time since the chase began. A soft chime suddenly played the door unlocked. Mira opened it, and 2 Lumeri diplomats entered, glowing with gentle blue light. Behind them were 2 more. And at the front stood a man and woman with the same silver-white hair as Lyra. Her parents. The moment Lyra saw them, her eyes filled with emotion. She let go of Mark's sleeve, only to run into her mother's arms. Her mother embraced her tightly, glowing brighter. Her father placed his hand gently on Lyra's head, closing his eyes in deep relief. "We were so worried, little star," her mother whispered. Lyra held her parents for a long moment before turning and pointing at Mark. "He saved me," she said proudly. "He saw the signal bead. He helped me." Lyra's father stepped forward. He was tall, graceful, and carried a calm wisdom. "Mark Rellan," he said with a warm tone, "our daughter owes her safety to you. We owe you more than words." Mark felt a little embarrassed. "I just did what anyone should do." The Lumeri mother smiled, but no one else did. She placed her hand over her heart. "We will never forget this." Lyra moved back to Mark and gently held his hand. "Can Mark come with us for a little while? I don't want to say goodbye yet." Her parents exchanged a look of understanding. "Yes," her father said kindly. "If he wishes to join us for the ride to the embassy, he is welcome." Mark agreed. He wanted to make sure Lyra felt safe all the way through. A short time later, they rode in a diplomat shuttle through the station's upper levels. Lyra sat beside Mark, holding his hand the whole time. Her parents watched quietly, grateful for the comfort he gave her. When they reached the embassy hall, the environment was peaceful, filled with soft, glowing lights. Lumeri culture valued calm spaces, and everything felt warm and safe. Lyra finally relaxed completely, sitting beside Mark on a cushioned bench. She looked at him with her big silver blue eyes. "When I was scared," she said, "I felt your courage. It made me strong." Mark smiled softly. "You're the brave one. You held on until I got there." She shook her head. "I trusted you because your heart felt warm." Her simple, honest words touched Mark deeply. Her father approached them. "We want to honor you, Mark Rellan. In 2 days, our delegation will hold a gathering. We wish for you to attend as our honored guest." Mark hadn't expected anything like that. "I would be honored," he said. Lyra leaned against his arm again. "Will I see you again before that?" Mark nodded. "I'll visit tomorrow, if that's okay." Her face brightened. "I would like that." Her parents smiled at their daughter's happiness. Mark knew it was time to go and let her rest. He stood up slowly. Lyra stood too, not wanting the moment to end. She stepped forward and wrapped her small arms around him in a gentle hug. Mark knelt a little to hug her back without hurting her. She held on longer than he expected. "Thank you for coming for me," she whispered. He held her carefully. "Always." When she finally let go, she smiled softly, full of trust instead of fear. Her parents promised to care for her and keep her safe. Mark waved goodbye as he left the embassy. Walking back to his quarters, he felt lighter than he had ever felt before. He had saved a child, yes, but he had also gained a connection he never expected. He knew he would see Lyra again soon. And he knew one thing for certain. On this large and busy spaceport, he had made a difference. He had been the human who noticed when no one else did. He had protected someone who needed him the most, and that made everything worth it.